You ready for another wonderful day of Xbox Live? Actually, it's Xbox Live. I totally messed that up. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another wonderful show brought to you by the Xbox Dive. My name is Jamie. And this
I'm Chris.
is Chris. I thought you were going to say it yourself, so I left a pause in there.
I did.
And
I was trying to, it's dramatic effect.
Sure. Well, you know what else is very dramatic
Oh, I don't know, James. Tell me.
and very to the point is
Women.
when people get so hyped about their games and they
course.
can't ever meet these expectations. So when the game comes out, it is just completely ruined.
Well,
No, because here's what I was thinking about that I just wanted to talk about today. Games lately, especially things with like No Man's Sky, Mighty Number 9, even Recore coming out now, they seem to be following this trend of where the game is announced and people get so hyped for these games over a year or 2 years, however long it takes until this game comes out, some even longer. Like, something like Duke Nukem Forever was like, 15 years? But you eventually hit this point where your hype is so high that no game could ever realistically meet those expectations. So let me ask you first, what do you think is causing that? Is it like the amount of time to release? Is it just because of the internet and people are getting, they just build up into this frenzy? What is causing people to be so hyped?
I think it's good marketing, but I think that that's bad for games.
And why is that?
And well, because marketing's job is to try and convince you that you need something or want something that you maybe don't need or maybe don't want.
Sure.
That's what a good marketing campaign is for. Well, that may be overstating. A good marketing campaign is to inform you about what product that they have to sell. But if it's good, it's going to make you want that product, right?
Sure.
And a lot of times it's like, oh, I didn't really know about this game, but this looks like everything that I would want to play. So for me, the problem is, I think that more and more people are not being realistic about expectations, and they're just, when we talk about the idea of riding a hype train, all that hype is built by marketing.
Sure.
It's very rarely built by, let's take No Man's Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people ever played No Man's Sky. There were very few demos. Now, they kept saying things like, we don't want to show too much of the world off.
Mm-hmm.
We want it to be about explorations. We don't want to show a lot of stuff. So there were little segments that were shown, but marketing was telling you there are billions upon billions, and you'll never see the same thing twice, and it will take you this long to do this. And that's marketing trying to tell you. Now, in my opinion, No Man's Sky is not a bad game.
It's just not what people expected.
It's just not what people expected. So it's marketing's fault. If the question is why, it's marketing's fault.
Sure.
But it's our own fault for not setting expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who made No Man's Sky? Hello Games. What's their pedigree? What was the last game?
Joe Danger.
Which I loved.
Yeah.
I bought it on, so it was on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually came to Xbox. I'll have it on my iPhone. I love Joe Danger. But if you were to tell me that the people who made Joe Danger are going to make the single greatest video game of all time, that's never been done before, that's going to revolutionize video games, I'd probably have a hard time swallowing that pill, right? But none of the marketers came out and said, from the guys who brought you Joe Danger.
Right.
Like, that didn't happen.
They should have.
Would set they should have, right? But so the onus then comes back on us that we need to do a little bit more research. But to answer the question that you asked, I think it comes back to marketing.
Sure. But what about things like Mighty Number 9? Like, that didn't really have a lot of marketing. It was a Kickstarter that kind of took off. And people built their own hype, like, oh my gosh, it's Mega Man. I think that's a little different, where it wasn't marketing for the game. It was the internet that built this frenzy around this game of what it was supposed to be. You know, and everyone just said, this is going to be the next Mega Man. It's going to be amazing. And everyone just kind of built it up in their own minds. And I know there were some delays and changes happened, things like that. But when people are expecting Mega Man, that could be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. You know the old game Telephone?
Yep.
So for viewers who may not know what that game is, just so you'll understand my analogy. Telephone is if you were to get into a line and a person at the far left of the line would whisper to the person next to them, you know, whatever it is. You know, I have a backpack full of bubble gum. And then they would say that to the next person, to the next person, to the next person, till you get to the far other side, the far right side now, the last person in line. And then you would ask them, hey, what did you hear? And they were like, oh, I have a basket full of lollipops. And they're like, but the guy said, the first person said a backpack full of bubble gum. And so the idea is that it somewhere along the way the translation gets lost. So
all
I
you could think of was backpack full of bubble gum.
What do you want? What do you want from me? So I think that kind of happens too. I good, because I'm going to hit that goal. So I think that may have a lot to do with it too, right? So word of mouth is a big thing. Mm-hmm. So we have the tendency, especially when we are the first to arrive at something, to be very excited about it. So, for instance, mm-hmm. I saw the trailer for the new Power Ranger game, mm-hmm. and it's going to be the greatest game ever made.
Says you.
Now, I have never played the game. I've barely seen it running. I haven't even taken the time to look up who developed it yet. Mm-hmm. I have no idea. Sure. But I love Power Rangers.
But you just have faith in the property.
Yeah, and so I sent you a message on Facebook Messenger being like, holy crap, this is all that I want in my life now. And I sent you a link to the trailer. Now, that game, let's be honest, that game was probably not going to be great.
Sure.
But if I were to see a new so if I were to see a game that was a new Mega Man game, as much as I love Mega Man, mm-hmm. I would probably do the same thing where I would pick up the phone or send you a message and be like, dude, they're making a Mega Man game. They're making the guy who made Mega Man is making a new game. This game is going to be amazing. And then we start the telephone game. Right. Where now you're going to tell somebody and then he's going to post it on Facebook and then somebody on Facebook's going to see it and they're going to then Google it and they're going to put it on Twitter. And now it's like this fire where people are now talking about a game that nobody really knows a whole lot about. Sure. And so yeah, I mean, a lot of times they'll say, what is the best marketing for a property or for a business? And it's always going to be word of mouth. Mm-hmm. And, so a lot of times I think that can be a problem. People can kind of get their idea what they think that it is. And then they start then to project that. And if that catches enough people, mm-hmm. like it becomes the perception of what it is, right? They say perception is reality. It may not actually be reality, right? But it's the reality that people would hear.
Honestly, looking at Xbox right now, looking at the Xbox One library, the only game that's coming to mind for me that was an Xbox game that kind of got taken over by its hype would be Quantum Break. Oh. That's the first game that popped into my mind because it was trying to live up to Alan Wake, right? And it was also supposed to be this game that was going to launch Xbox into making TV shows. Like, it had all this hype around it. And it kept getting delayed. They changed all the actors. It kept getting delayed. People keep going, this game is going to be amazing. And people played it. And they're like, it was good. It wasn't Alan Wake. It wasn't this. But it was good. And I'm wondering if either one, they announced the game and released it almost immediately after, like maybe closer to the launch when they first started talking about this, if it would have gotten way better reviews, or they would have released it now, but they didn't show it to us until much closer to launch. I think those two things maybe would have helped with that a little bit. But as far as Xbox goes, I can't really think of a lot of games that's been affected by that this generation. Now, if we look across the pond, I'll just say that. There are quite a few games on another system where I could say hype kind of shot it in the foot. But I mean, Chris, as far as Xbox goes, are there any games you could think of where hype kind of tore it down?
I mean, I think to a certain degree, you mentioned Recore earlier. I think Recore suffered from that a little bit, almost to the same degree that Mighty Number 9 did.
Sure.
And that
same creator,
it had,
by the way.
yeah, Inafune was behind it, but also had Armature Studios. Now, Armature was the company that made Metroid Prime, and one of my favorite first-person games of all time. I love the Prime series, and so you had both of these big names that were coming in. So Concept and then Armature, and you're like, this is a great pedigree. And then I think what happens is, they show kind of a cinematic trailer to start, and there's sweeping music, and I think for that game, I think it played a lot bigger than it turned out to be. I would have rather Microsoft came out and maybe said something to the effect of, "Hey, guys, okay,
sure.
Let me say what I think. I would rather companies get ahead of the stuff. I would rather companies set our expectations."
Sure.
We talked about this last week a little bit with Phil kind of talking about the price of the Scorpio, where he came out and he's not going to tell you what the price is, but he's like, "Hey guys, it's not going to be crazy. It's not going to be anything but you are buying a premium product. You need to understand that it's going to be a premium product." So he's kind of setting that expectation. I would have almost rathered a couple of months before Recore came out be like, "Hey guys, we just announced that Recore is only going to be $40.
Right.
And we announced that because this is fitting kind of the middle tier, and just something to set your expectations, because what happened was a lot of people started thinking that Recore was supposed to be, like Uncharted. And it was never, the budget's not there, the team's not there. It wasn't what they were shooting for. And so then when you buy it, you're expecting Uncharted, and you get, it just doesn't match up. So I would much rather something like that.
Right. And going back to Recore, that's a game where I still haven't purchased it. Like, I was super hyped for it at E3. And even though it was only $40, once the reviews started coming out and they were kind of like middle of the road, and I'm like, well, I only have so much money, I think I can wait on that one. And that's a game I still actually really want to play. But I mean, Chris, have you finished Recore yet? I know you bought it day one.
I haven't finished it. Now, that's just because of life. I really liked the game.
Sure. It's mostly just the load times that are really the bother, right? I mean, other than that,
load times suck.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, that has stopped me some nights from playing. Because me and you, we've been playing through Gears. We're trying to get that done. Gears 3. So we're trying to get that done before Gears 4 launches. And so so that, and then I've been playing things like Firewatch and Witness.
Yes.
And so when I sit down and I'm like, okay, I have 30 minutes that I can play a game, but I know that it's going to take me about 5 minutes to load into Recore, maybe even close to 10. By the time I load up the game, load through menus, load up to the thing, it's going to take me 5, 6, 7 minutes. Whereas I know I can load up Firewatch, and in 2 minutes I'm playing.
Right.
And so that plays a part into to my decision for that time, because my time is more limited. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some drawbacks, but when I play the game, when the game loads and I'm just playing, it is a blast. I love it. Another game I was going to mention, I'll mention Halo.
Oh, okay.
So I think Halo 5. Halo 5. Okay. Yeah, I think that it ended up getting. I think that I liked Halo 5.
Yeah, I mean, it was enjoyable.
Quite a bit.
Yep.
I definitely don't think it was the best Halo single player, but I don't think it deserves a lot of the criticism that it gets. There were some problems with the repeated bad guy. That Guardian guy was really annoying. but the point is, I think that game was hyped just because of what that game is.
Sure.
And this goes back to be completely honest with you, and I'll switch genres here, or mediums, if you will. It makes me nervous every time I go see a Star Wars movie, because I love Star Wars.
Sure.
And so it's like I have this perception of what Star Wars should be.
Mhm.
And every time I walk into a theater, I'm like, God, they're gonna ruin this.
Sure.
somehow.
Well, should they do what's happening with Assassin's Creed? Because the Assassin's Creed team has come out and said, "Hey guys, we're just letting you know what's going on with this movie. We know it's not going to break records. We're probably barely going to break even." and they said, just to let you know, when they go back in time, they're going to speak the language of that time. They're not going to be speaking in English. We just want you to know that. So when you go in, you know exactly what you're getting. Oh, by the way, 65% of this movie is in the present. And so they tell you exactly what this movie is. So, I mean, and I love Assassin's Creed. I was going to see it regardless. But now going in, my expectations are kind of set now. And kind of to go back to gaming, is there anything, I mean, we kind of already touched this a little bit, but just kind of tie this off. What would you say game companies need to do to get, to kind of, turn the hype down a little bit? Or actually, let me ask a different question. Is hype bad for gaming?
Yes. But that's the problem. The problem is companies think that they have to have it, which is why it's there. So two things, and then I'll be quiet. So number one, I think time is important. I think announcing a game more than a year out is just, it's instantly setting up for failure.
Sure.
And maybe not even announcing games. See, this is the funny thing, right? It reminds me of Fallout 4.
Okay.
Fallout, we knew they were making Fallout 4.
Right.
And every now and then you get little hints, and we kind of knew that Boston was what they were looking at, the Boston, the New England area, and you had these little hints, but but then they also didn't deny it, right? When they were interviewed, they're exactly. We're working on Fallout. I mean, it's going to come. And then they came out at E3. They showed it in 6 months, 7 months, whatever it was.
They announced it in July or June, and it came out in November.
Yeah, so what's that? 5 months, and then it's on the shelves, right? And it was all hype because the game was polished and ready to go. What happens now is they announce it too early. When you announce a year or 2 years out, it makes it very hard to hit a release date because there's just so many variables.
Right.
And if you're coming up and you hit just a bug that you can't figure out, sorry, you're going to have to push that game out. So now that 1.5 year announcement becomes a 2.5 year game because you didn't have your crap together. Right.
And there was actually a really interesting statistic that came out last E3, this previous E3, where it was talking about the amount of games announced at E3 that actually come out that year, and it was I forget 3 games or something. It was so small, and they said, oh, by the way, 60 or 70% of the stuff that's announced at the E3 before that still isn't out. And so I think you're right. It's just the amount of time it takes for a game to get released.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think so I said 2 things. So number one, I think that time is very, very important. The other thing that I wish that the companies would do is just really be more transparent. Now, obviously, no company is going to come out and be like, "Hey guys, this game's really rough. It's probably not going to be great. Please still buy it." That's just, they could, and to be honest, personally, I would probably really value that, but also personally, I probably wouldn't buy it.
Sure.
And which they obviously can't do. But I think more transparency into the actual game itself. I would have respected somebody at Hello Games talking about No Man's Sky to come out and just had a conversation where they're like, "Hey guys, we're a 14-person team. We made Joe Danger.
Right.
We're going to give you the best that we can.
Sure.
But this is a indie game. Like just clarify exactly what you're getting, because people were expecting a AAA platform exclusive that was going to become a franchise, and that's not what No Man's Sky ever was going to be.
But at the same time, I think gamers, they knew that. You go online, look at the team, how many people are on that team. You know what the previous games were. So why are you putting this unrealistic expectation on this game? Why are you putting so much hype around it? And I know that Sony came out and said, the No Man's Sky team was hyping it too much, blah, blah, blah. They were excited because they made something they were very proud of. And when you make something you're proud of it, of course you want to hype it up. This is amazing. We love this. But now the guys getting death threats and all sorts of stupid stuff like that, which, obviously they don't deserve. But Sony should have said, hey guys, hold on. I think part of the problem with that game especially, Hello Games themselves, they were very, very proud of it, so they were hyping it up a lot. And they were talking about things they probably shouldn't have talked about because it was like on their wish list of what they wanted in the game, and they didn't know if it was going to be in there or not. Secondly, Sony should have kind of pulled back the reins, said, hold on guys, we don't want you talking about this stuff if it's not done yet. Because Sony knows bad PR. Trust me. Pretty much any video game company does that's been around long enough. But third, I think it also falls directly on the gamer because if you did even minimal research, look up Hello Games, look up how big the studio is, just look at these little things. You put all those facts together, you should have had in your mind realistic expectations.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that completely. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Is there a game that personally you bought into the hype and were 100% let down by, like, that sticks out in your head? Like you're like mad or upset about it?
Well, I mean, I can't think of one off the. I guess the most recent one that happened to me on was Platinum Games Ninja Turtles, because I'm a huge fan of Ninja Turtles. Have been my entire life. I love Platinum Games. Bayonetta is amazing. I'm trying to not blanking, but I played almost everything that they've released. Outside of Korra, I played almost every Platinum game, and I'm still super hyped for Scalebound. So have I learned anything? It's like one of those kind of things. But yeah, I mean, in most recent memory, it'd be Ninja Turtles, just because I'm like, okay, it's Platinum Games, and it even kind of came out, through the woodwork. Oh, this is their B team, but I'm still like, this game's going to be great. It's Ninja Turtles. It's Platinum Games. It's going to be amazing. And of course, it was okay. It wasn't.
So let me ask.
Right.
It wasn't great. So let me ask you, how as a fan now and having been burned, how would you have liked to seen that handled differently? What would have helped you set your expectations right?
See, and that's the problem, because just like I mentioned before, and I think it's just the gamer inside me and pretty much the gamer inside everybody. You get excited for what you get excited for, and you can't help yourself because news came out, it's kind of repetitive combat. Oh, it's kind of this, it's kind of that. Oh, by the way, you're going to spend most of your time in the sewers and mazes. It's not all combat. But I'd still watch some gameplay demos. I'm like, nope, they're wrong. I'm going to love this game. It's going to be great. And it's one of those things where you're excited for it because you're excited for it. And it's really hard to kind of to stop that.
We call that denial.
Right. Well, okay, let me ask you, any game, just to cap this off, any game that you'd say you were hyped for that was let down?
Yeah, 100%. And then I will say that it's changed the way that I look at games now because of it. Assassin's Creed 3 this day physically makes me angry. Because I played AC2 and Brotherhood, and I played Revelations 2. I wasn't a big fan of the tower.
Revelations, man. Revelations was the first game where it started to show signs of.
Yeah, but I mean, the core gameplay itself was still fine. They just tried to add too much. That's another story.
Right, sure.
AC2 and Brotherhood, two of my favorite games on the 360.
So good.
And then they announced that they were finally giving us a new assassin in Connor, and that they were doing the American Revolution, which literally the only thing that I can listen to every day at work is the Hamilton soundtrack, because
never stop with the Hamilton, man. That's all you talk about.
Because I can't stop and I won't stop. Because I love American history. So knowing that this is where it was going, I mean, I was beside myself. Like, I had even contemplated getting an AC3 tattoo, and like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I was so in it.
Sure.
And I bought that game, and I played about 6 hours of that game because I just forced myself that this is a great game. This is a great game. This is a great game. And after about 6.5 hours, I put the controller down and I'm like, I hate this game.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was a bad game. Right.
Sure.
So then the same question that I asked you, how could they have prevented me from my expectations being overhyped? Right. And to be completely honest, they couldn't have.
Right.
They couldn't have, because just like for you, because the subject matter. Now, what I've learned is that the onus is now on me.
Right.
So we started at the beginning by saying that I am.
You are the problem.
Pumped. I am the problem, and I am super.
Power is yours.
That's not their slogan. So I'm super pumped for Power Rangers, the new Power Rangers game put out in January. The difference now is that I will buy it and I will play it, but I have learned now to temper my own expectation, to understand that it's a video game made by developers. This is going to be a limited budget. It's going to be a download-only game more than likely, and it just is what it is. And I'm going to play it because I enjoy the license and because I enjoy those characters. Right. And if it's not great, you know, it'll be fine. But I have not let myself get to a hype level like I have with Assassin's Creed 3 again.
Sure.
And so the onus comes back on us. So hype comes back to us, and we just need to learn how to temper ourselves. We can be excited about something, but just understand that sometimes there's just no way that we can live up to our own expectations, and that's okay.
100%.
You know.
Well, guys, let us know, is hype killing video games? And like Chris said, is there a game that you were so hyped for and you finally got your hands on it and you're extremely disappointed? And how did you deal with that disappointment? Let us know in the comments down below. You can
do you have an Assassin's Creed 3 tattoo? We want to see pictures of it. Tweet pictures of it to us at the Xbox Dive.
Right. And reach us on Facebook and on Twitter at the Xbox Dive, like Chris said. But until next time, guys, we are out. Hey guys, we hope you really enjoyed this contest from Xbox Dive. If you like what you saw, make sure to comment and subscribe down below. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Till next time, guys, we're out.